let's begin with the Yamas. And what I want you to know is that even though I lecture on the Yamas every semester, what comes out of my mouth is directly to what the audience needs to hear. I don't have it scripted, so sometimes I just allow the energy to come in. So know that whatever comes out of my mouth, it may not be, for those of you that have taken my class before, you'll notice that it's not the same words in general. It is the same concept, but not the same words. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So interestingly enough, I've already told you that there are no coincidences that you are here. And that includes every moment of every lecture, right? So we start with ahimsa. Ahimsa means that we totally act in consideration, that we totally think in consideration, and that we totally feel in consideration, right? So that means that we have to be mindful of our thoughts. Why? And why do you think? Remember that these teachings were for the most successful. If you adopt these, you will be very successful. And why do you think that is? Anybody? Nobody?
Whatever you put out, you know, receive.
Thank you, Valerie. Yes, exactly. The energy that you put out will be exactly what you receive. The actions, now get this, the action you put out will come back to you tenfold. Do you know what tenfold means? Times 10. So if you put out a negative action, you can rest assured that it will come back to haunt you with a different face, a different environment, and a different circumstance, but it will come back to haunt you 10 times worse, right? Same thing when you put out a good action, it will come back to you tenfold in ways you don't even realize. You see, one of our thinkings is that the only way we can have abundance is through money. But that's not true. Money is just one of the energies. You can have abundance by somebody saying to you that you are a nice person. So you can have abundance in the way of thoughts. You can have abundance in the way of gifts. Let me give you an example. I teach yoga at the YMCA in the mornings, and I have a group of followers that tend to follow this yoga. And this one woman came in, never seen her before, and she started, and she's only been in my class about 2 weeks, and the other day after class, she says, can you stay right here? And I go, sure. So she runs out to the car, comes back in with a little gift, a little beautiful little bracelet, and she says, this is coming to you all the way from Nepal, from a young man whose name is Karma. He's a Tibetan monk who, this is how he makes his living, creating these. And I thought of you, and I would like for you to have it. That's abundance. That's abundance. That makes sense? Some of us will look at that and say, oh, that wasn't abundance. And some of us will look at the very plain little bracelet and say, that's just plain. It's not sparkly, it's not flashy, it's not, but it means a lot. And interestingly, is that the kid's name was Karma. The kid's name was Karma. Imagine that. And she hands that to me and she said, this is from a Tibetan little, monk, Karma. And I was like, whoa, talk about karma coming around to me, right? Mm-hmm. Literally. So I put it on my foot, and I thought I was going to wear it, like an anklet, because it's too big around my wrist. And then I was worried that it would break, so I took it off and I have it all saved. But the thing is that that's a himsa. Somewhere along the line, I was sweet, I was considerate, I was whatever you want to call it, and that's what I pride myself in, is that I do my best every day to live this life. And I'm not saying it's easy. I am not saying it's easy, because I run into people that say they're going to do stuff and they don't do it, and they give me some sort of lame excuse. Usually it's money. Can't do it because of money. And that's my biggest pet peeve, right? My biggest pet peeve. That's the hardest thing. Don't tell me you're going to do something and then don't do it. Don't tell me you want something, I give you the information and you don't do anything with it. That for me is my biggest challenge. I have to calm down and I have to say, okay, right? So when we live a life of ahimsa, it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. And every yama that you're going to notice builds upon the other. There is no way that I can practice ahimsa if I'm not practicing consideration. Now that comes in the mind, in the form of mind. Now, how many of you guys, when you were writing your thoughts, noticed that you were in judgment of something? Anybody? No, I have only angels in the class, huh? Right? Raise your hand. Let me ask the question again. I'll give you an opportunity. You're not going to sit there and fall asleep on me, ¿verdad? Okay, so how many of you guys notice that you have judgment thoughts? Yes, thank you very much. Let's be honest here, right? Because even I do. People go, you do? I go, yes, right? I am a human being, and my humanness shows quite frequently, right? My humanness comes out to play. And it comes out to play when you know, when things don't, somebody turn, was that me? Okay, so somebody's phone is on, so make sure you guys turn off your phone. Somebody just got a text or something, so make sure you turn it off. Okay, so what happens is, it's really important for us to realize that you must act with ahimsa. That means even when people are not being nice to you. That's going to be the hardest and the most challenging. Right? And that, my friends, is what makes a true yogi. One that behaves, thinks, and moves with ahimsa, regardless of the that's being flung at him. Because in the end, we all know that what we dish out, we get back. That's important for you guys to realize, right? So let's go let's go somewhere that's close. I need your name, sweetie. Let's go to a place that's really close to home. How many of you guys have a mom or a dad that nags at you? Mm-hmm. In your words? Right? So what ahimsa tells us to do is to take a look at that and realize that it is our perception that is going to help us, so that we need to change that perception. If you think your parents are naggy, guess what? They're going to be naggy, right? But if you take a deep breath and just say, wow, I'm just going to appreciate, because I realize that they're coming from a different space. They're coming from, you know, we can never expect to walk in our parents' shoes. As we're young,